Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video we are going to create a simple console similar to the Unity console in our game. Alright, let's do this. Alright, okay, for making this beautiful console, we need to have a canvas. You can create from game object, a UI and canvas in here. Then we need to add a scroll wheel, and as you can see I've added the scroll wheel from game object, UI, scroll wheel, and the size of the canvas is something like this, but the scroll wheel must be smaller than this one because we need to see it clearly and with the big size. And then we will add a txt from the TMP object from here, text mesh pro, and then we will put as a child of content in here, and we will increase the size of it. As you can see, it is very big because it has to support the whole console logs and errors, so it's better to be big. Then we need to change something in the scroll wheel, and movement type, it has to be unrestricted because we need to move up to down, and we don't need to go left or right, so we will check off the horizontal movement, only vertical. Alright, the next step is we need to have a C# script. We will here create a C# script, and we call it in-game console. Okay, and open it in the Visual Studio. I have made this the whole script, and it's 100% successfully works. Now I want to explain one line by line of this script. First, you need to have using TMP TMPro for using the log text. Then you need to have what we don't need to event system, right? We need to define some variables, for example, such as these variables. First, I want to explain what is this. This is the main log text, which we have defined in here as a children of the content, child of content here, and we want to show our log here. I changed the font size to 15 because we want to see the whole sentence here. Next step, I want to explain the base of the system, then we will come back to the variables. But yeah, we can go ahead with variables. For example, I will save the log string, stack trace, and internal type, and the type of the log type. So we will use them if we want to change our mode only. For example, we want to see only errors, not warnings, not logs. Only logs, not errors, not warnings. So we will save the imported and added logs and texts inside of these variables. And in here, if we want to change our modes, warning mode true or false, log mode true and false, and error modes true and false. Okay. In this part on enable, we will call our function to demonstrate the logs. from application.log message received. This is a system function from the application. Then we will have to plus equal log callback. This is our function which we have defined in here. In this function, we can demonstrate our logs inside of the log text. And I create a simple function. It's called message maker. If we because I want to show you how it works. So I say, okay, print only hello. It is for normal log, and I try to find something. It's called object, because I want to make something which makes error for us. And I said, okay, invoke repeating message maker after 1 second from the beginning, and every 1 second try to call this function to make a loop for us. In here we will say, okay, undisable the scene with various reasons. For example, if our application crashes, or if you want to change your scene of any other reasons. So we will say, okay, stop the logging the messages inside of our function. Okay, what is our function? Void log callback. It can be any names. It has already 3 types of variables: internal variables, string, log string, stack trace, and type. If you take a look at the normal messages in here, look at this. It is our message, and in here it is the content of message, and this part is the address of the message, and this is the type of message. So this is the content of message, this is the address of the message, and this is the type of message. So we will initially we will save them inside of our internal log string, internal stack trace, and internal type. We will use them in the next step. Then we will say, okay, right now ignore this part, these parts. We will say, okay, if type equal log type dot exception, so it is an error. So if we want to simulate the console of the Unity, we will say, okay, warning is yellow and error is red and normal log is white. Okay, now we will say, okay, log text dot text plus equal the color equal red, then log string the content of message, and in here we will say, okay, if we want to demonstrate the address of the error, we will put these stars to separate our content message from our address. Then we will write the address of the error, and the last step is, okay, put these lines and dashes to separate this error from other errors so it can be readable easily. And in here we will say, okay, that red color has to be finished here. If our type of the error is .log, so it is a normal log, so you don't need to change the color, because as a by default the text color is white, so you don't need to change the color line. However, you can change color of the logs as well. But I didn't change it in here, and I kept it by default. So I say, okay, put only the log string, because logs doesn't have address. And the last part is warnings. If the type equal log type dot warning, we'll say, okay, write it in here and change the color to yellow, and log string stars address of the warning, and the dash for separation between messages. Okay, if we want to see the errors, logs, and warnings one time, and in fact you will collapse all the messages, like this collapse button and function of the Unity console, you will add this if to your system for each one, and you will say, okay, if the log text.text contains this current log string, ignore it. If it is not inside of that, look at this, this is negative. If it is not inside of that, it's so it is a new message. Okay, let's demonstrate it. The same method for here, and the same method for here. Okay, now let's do test. As far as I mentioned in the past, we had a message maker which makes a normal log. It's called hello, and try to make an error with try to find the object which name object. That's to play. That's it. We have hello in here, an error in here. It is the content of error, and it is the address of error. You can see that it's separated by stars and dashes here, and also the warning. Visual Studio Editor package version 2.0.15 is available. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I want to do something cool for the last step, is if we want to filter our messages exactly like this part. Only show, for example, errors, or only show the logs. Okay, let's come back to our script in the Visual Studio. I made something cool in here. I said, let's to save the current log string, stack trace, and type inside of the internal variables. So we will have access to them in here. Warning activation. If we press warning activation, if the warning mode is true, try to clear the log text, and then change the warning mode false. Then try to call this function log callback again with the last messages and contents, content messages, addresses, and types. But the new thing is, because you have changed the warning mode to false, you will not see the warning mode again, because at the beginning we will say, okay, if the warning mode is true, try to demonstrate the warnings. If the warning mode is false, you will not see the warnings again. We will have this method for errors and logs as well. If the error mode equal true, try to change it to error mode false and call this function again. If the error mode equal false, try to change it to true and call the function. It is the same method for logs as well. Log mode true, log mode false, call the function. Log mode false, log mode true, call the function. Perfect. Let's do test. All right. Okay. I want to see just the log and turn off the warning and turn off the error. I will see only the log. I want to see just errors. Look at this. Perfect. It works well. Alright, thank you for watching this video, and I want to invite you to subscribe my channel to see more tutorials and useful videos about game development, XR development, and real-time gameplay.